Deion Sanders facing backlash after complaining about Shedeur Sanders' draft fall, considered by many as a potential first-round talent, with some even pegging him as a top-5 pick. Shedeur Sanders, son of Pro Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, plummeted to the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft, ultimately going 144th overall to the Cleveland Browns. This slide became one of the draft's biggest talking points, as fans and experts alike speculated over the reasons behind such a significant fall. After the draft, Dean appeared on an episode of Ascent Samuel's Say What Needs to Be Said podcast and acknowledged watching Shedeur and his other son Shiloh fall so far. It hurt. But the Bible says God uses the foolish things to confound the wise. Sanders said. On Monday, following Deion Sanders' renewed public remarks, analyst Jason Metzentire criticized Deion's comments on an episode of Fox Sports, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, suggesting NFL front offices might have steered clear of drafting Shedeur Sanders precisely because of the circus surrounding his father's commentary. This, my friends, is why Shedeur Sanders fell in the draft. I thought it was probably 50% Deion, 50% Shedeur. I'm now thinking NFL teams' front offices were just like, no thank you on Shedeur Sanders precisely because of this, Metzentire said. Folks, it's the beginning of June and Dean is already complaining about his son and what went down at the draft. After a disappointing 3-14 record in 2024, their worst mark since going 0-16 in 2017, the Browns held the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, anticipating a generational addition to their roster. Despite these high expectations, the most surprising storyline of Cleveland's offseason has been the selection of Shedeur Sanders. In the weeks leading up to the draft, both Deion and Shedeur generated significant media buzz. At one point, the man publicly stated he would not want his son playing for a cold-weather franchise and ruled out certain teams like the Chicago Bears. At the NFL Combine, Shedeur opted not to participate in on-field drills, instead declaring himself a franchise-changing talent to interested teams. Anonymous NFL executives later questioned his interview demeanor and game day readiness, with one calling his formal interview the worst they had experienced. These pre-draft narratives set the stage for what became a highly scrutinized slide. Deion Sanders, the Pro Football Hall of Famer turned college football coach and cultural icon, has never been one to hold back. Whether on the field, behind a microphone, or in front of a camera, Coach Prime speaks with passion, conviction, and a father's fierce pride. So when his son, Shedeur Sanders, slid down the draft boards further than expected, Deion didn't bite his tongue, and the sports world erupted. It started innocently enough, a post-draft interview, a camera in his face, and a question that hit too close to home. Coach, how do you feel about where Shedeur ended up in the draft? Deion paused, drew a breath, and let it fly. If his last name was anything other than Sanders, he'd have been a top-5 pick, period. The kid has the numbers, the poise, the pedigree. But you know how this works. They don't like it when confidence comes wrapped in swagger. They want humble. They want quiet. But we were born to shine. It was raw, emotional, and unmistakably Deion. But the internet doesn't sleep. And it certainly doesn't forgive easily.